You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.
Hello, all you weirdos, and welcome back to the Weird Science Comics YouTube channel. I'm Jim, and I'm going to be reviewing Wonder Woman number 800, written by Becky, Cloonan, and Michael W. Conrad, or as we like to call them, Cloonrad, and Tom King, and a boatload of artists. There are so many artists, more artists on this book than members of Twice. Now, it says on the cover it's an extra-size spectacular, and that is true. It has extra pages, and for the most part, it fails in a spectacular fashion. But hey, who would have thought any different from a celebration that includes the writers of a failed run and the head-scratching pick who is replacing them? And it kind of feels like the idea where you have a dog and it's getting old. It's not dead yet, but you already got the puppy to replace it. You just throw it out. The poor old dog's like, really? Like, you're doing this already? At least wait till I'm dead. But here we go. And even so, by the end of this, I was at least hoping to get an idea, get a feel of what Tom King was going to do on the Wonder Woman run, the book starting in September. But because we're playing this collectible deal of Diana's daughter, we're not even going to get that. But let's start with the Cloonrads. Cloonrads wrapping up their failed and canceled Wonder Woman run with what amounts to reading a fourth grader's Why Wonder Woman is Great report. I'm sure their moms will pin this one up on the refrigerator for everyone to see. But what do they think they're doing or accomplishing here? I would guess that most people reading this book think that Wonder Woman's pretty darn cool, right? And while I may be naive, and I've been accused of that, I trust that someone writing Wonder Woman, I don't know, likes Wonder Woman, maybe gets Wonder Woman. At best, this is the comic book version of answering a rhetorical question. And yet I can picture Becky and Michael patting themselves on the back thinking they proved to the world that they quote-unquote get Wonder Woman after writing this. What they don't get is how to write a good story. What they don't get is how to write something that sells. I think that might be a bit more important here in the long run for them. But even so, these stories we get these a lot when you get these end, celebration type things. The problem is they're generic cliche and they're just lazy. They are lazy. Don't do this. You have things going on in your run, whether or not it sucked, whether or not anybody read it, but you have some loose ends that people who did stick through this run with you probably wanted to have resolved. Like, what's up with Ziggy? I kind of thought that at the end, Ziggy might have to go back to Valhalla. What's going on? No, we see him in one panel kind of hanging. What is Cheetah going to do after this? Cheetah is kind of tied in with Wonder Woman here, kind of a good gal on the good side. But what's going to happen? We don't know. How about Etta Candy and Steve Trevor working for what is, I don't even know what the checkmate is in this book. You ended up having the Cloonrads grab onto Brian Michael Bendis' checkmate, but twisted in a way that was even worse, which is hard. It's worse than Brian Michael Bendis. It made no damn sense. It never did. And yet you don't have anything to tie that up either. What you do get is Diana visiting friends and family in her mind movies. And this does tie into last issue of Wonder Woman, where she is in this coma. She's working her way through it. It's just nonsense. But it could have been an actual cool setup to the upcoming Night Terrors. I thought that that's what we were getting. Okay, by the end of this, she's going to have to continue this. And she wakes up. She even ruined that. It was like a softball pitch to get into Night Terrors, and you screw it up. You don't even have that. Now, I'm no dummy. Been called that, but I would like to think I'm not. Most people getting this issue are going to get it either because they want to know what Tom King's going to be up to in September when he takes over Wonder Woman. But for the most part, I think that they're collecting this because it does have the first appearance of Diana's daughter, Trinity. But about 10% of those people will actually read it, which that might serve them well. But if they do, what they'll get from Tom King is such a poorly written Damian Wayne. At one point, John and Damian are arguing, and Damian says, I know Greek. And John goes, you don't. And then Damien says, well, I could. No, Damien would know Greek. There is no doubt in my mind, 100,000,000% that Damian Wayne knows Greek. And yet you're playing it as a joke. John just seems kind of like a jerk. And if this is the future of the Super Sons, holy moly, it's just miserable. But they're there to help out the younger Lizzie in the magic cave of death. And we're getting that. What we won't get, though, as I said earlier, is much of an idea of how Tom King will write Diana in his upcoming run, since the story takes place 20 years in the future and doesn't include Diana at all. Now, why would DC do this? Why would you only have two writing teams? One, the failed writers of this past run, and then the other, somebody who's taking over the book, but not giving a preview of that book, but instead getting the first appearance of Diana's daughter. To me, they are trying to keep the public from being exposed to the idea that they have let Wonder Woman fall to such a level of mediocrity that a Celebration oversized number 800 issue would sell like crap. So instead of actually letting that happen, they throw in 1,000,000 covers and then make it collectible by having that first appearance. And Wonder Woman having a daughter, that's not just small potatoes here. That's huge. People are going to buy it, never read it, put it aside, just because that could be a huge character. And so you end up having that bit that will make it sell. But it's not selling because people think that Wonder Woman is being used well, or that DC has a great plan for Wonder Woman, or any of these writers have any clue of how to write this character, and they haven't for years. So you get this bullshit, and it's nonsense. It is nonsense. And it really, now you can tell, now I'm getting angry. But I guess DC thinks that the word spectacular means, I don't know, generic and collectible, because they certainly couldn't mean the writing in this book. Wonder Woman has been held down by shitty writers and editorial decisions for way too long for her fans. They deserve much, much more. Now, I'm willing to see if Tom King can do that. The problem is elevating characters not really high on the list of Tom King achievements. I've never really heard many people say, hey, Tom King's great at elevating characters. That's usually not his thing, so I am worried. Now, overall, the ton of artists, they do a pretty good job. The art is good in this issue. There's no pinups. It just felt like just an annual, and it just got thrown out there. And like I said, I think that they decided, well, we better make this somehow collectible, because if not, we don't want to have a big celebration of Wonder Woman, come in ranking in at like 150 in comics. They want to get this up there so the collectability will increase the sales. But the art's good. The writing isn't. It just makes me throw my hands up in the air and wonder why Wonder Woman gets subjected to this torture, and Wonder Woman fans even worse. I mean, we have things where people will say, oh man, I'm a Wally West fan. He has the way. It doesn't matter dying or not. It's the idea that DC just does not have any clue of who to get to write this book. Hopefully Tom King will surprise me, and we'll get that in September. But right now, this is just a celebration of what Wonder Woman and her fans have been going through for years. It's pretty much the epitome of all that. I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 10. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Even if you love it, if you're excited about Tom King's run, I love hearing people that disagree with me and maybe get me fired up as well. So let me know. That's it. Here we go. I'll be reviewing a bunch of other things this week, and I hope they're better than this. But all right. See you later, guys.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.